Hi, welcome to fourth grade back to school night at Sinsheimer. We wanted to give you guys a preview of our curricular areas and our kind of daily routines and schedules so that when you actually come to back to school night next week, we can go over some things in more detail. So we want to start with just a basic slide about how to help your child succeed. There's definitely ways to stay connected with us electronically. The Parent Squared app is going to be really helpful this year, so make sure that you are on that. And if you have questions, come see us with those. You can also get a lot of information off of our websites, the fourth grade website and the Sinsheimer website. And in person, make sure to check in with your kids on their monthly student calendar. That should be first thing in their binders. And just ask your kids about their day and share about the best parts of their day. We'd also love if you join PTA and come visit us in the classroom. So for homework, it's very important that kids read every night. Time in books right now in their reading development makes all the difference. So if you have time at night to make sure that your kids read 20 to 30 minutes, that would be fantastic. And it's really going to show up in their scores and in their performance.
The other thing that your students will have is math homework. We've tried to incorporate a little flexibility with this. So you'll see that they have an option for Home Connect pages, which is a couple pages a week, assigned Monday and due on Thursday. I'm also going to throw in some fact fluency. So students might be working on facts that they need specifically. And then we're going to show you how to log in, show your students how to log in to ST Math. So that's something they can work on at home. I definitely want to touch on this when you're all with us on the 29th to answer any questions about what workload in math they need to do for homework. We want to give your family that flexibility. So if it doesn't work out for you to do that paperwork all the time, maybe online or some fact work would work for you guys. Departmentalization. I promise I can say that. What is it? So as you can see, we're together always. Brittany, Mrs. Stracamo will be doing the reading and writing, the big workload for those two, and I'll be taking on the math and science. We're kind of share the social studies. I'll start with the beginning of the year, and as we get into the gold rush, they do a lot of reading about it, so it becomes Mrs. Stracamo's thing. Why we're doing it. We love the idea of departmentalizing because it gives us the chance to really dive deeper and do a better job in the subjects that we're teaching. And that way we can really bring a lot to the table for your kids. I think they also love the switching aspect of what's going on, kind of giving a break in their day and having two teachers kind of for the price of one, if you will, since we're all together and really talking about your student throughout the day. So we think it's a great benefit.
Okay, so going into curricular areas, fourth grade in reading. We use the Reader's Workshop model of instruction. So basically that means that I come to them with a short lesson, 15 minutes long at the most, where I want to really give them that skill or teach them that new strategy. But then most of our reading block is spent with readers reading. They're in practicing, and I'm nestled in with small groups and one-on-one conferences, making sure that kids are challenged appropriately at their level. We really emphasize that independent reading with Just Right books. So Just Right books are those books that are within reach for your readers. If they're spending a lot of time in books that are too difficult for where they are, it doesn't help them at all. So I'm really on getting them into those Just Right books at the very beginning of the year. So again, with that reading, 20 to 30 minutes nightly is going to be critical this year in fourth grade. If you're struggling with finding Just Right books, please email me or come see me. I can totally help you with that. Just so you know, there are two types of levels for books that I will use and look at. The Lexile score is that number score, 3 digits that you might know from report cards last year. I can talk more about that at back to school night. But I'll also use guided reading levels, which are like letter levels. So, and we also have the AR Olympics this year. So AR stands for Accelerated Reader, and that is a program where kids log in and record the books that they read, and they take a quick comprehension quiz, and they're able to keep track of how many words they read for the whole school year. So that can be really fun and motivating, and that's new for them in 4th grade. And then for writing, we use the writer's workshop model of instruction. So again, same idea. I come to them with a really short 15-minute lesson where I teach and they practice quickly, and then I send them off to spend most of our time together practicing the writing and really working on their craft. I like to focus on teaching the writer, not just the writing. So that might mean that we have work up with spelling errors in it, because I'm really focusing on teaching this writing skills that your kids need, as opposed to making the writing perfect. And we'll go through a couple genres this year. We'll start with narrative, so stories, and then we'll jump into informational, and then we'll go into persuasive essays and literary essays. We're also going to be working on word work, focusing on word patterns and academic vocabulary, but it's a little different than the traditional spelling list, like a list to memorize per week. We're going to kind of stay away from that and move into some deeper things that will hopefully help more in the long run.
All right, in math, we use our Bridges curriculum, which if you've been at Sinsheimer before, you're familiar with that. We always start with a problem and an investigation. So along the same lines of reading and writing, bringing everybody together for instruction for that day. Students might go off and do a number of different things. They might work on daily practice. There might be workplace games. There might be quizzes and tests tucked into that, and also some other work that students may need kind of on an individual basis. ST Math is another thing that we'll do. It's going to be done in the morning. So that's that online math game that you might be playing at home. Studies have shown that this really helps kids visualize the math that they're working on. The interesting thing about it is that there's no words to the whole program. So the kids have to really watch what they're doing and build on their ideas there. Number Corner is another part of our math program. Again, it's at a separate part of the day for 20 minutes on its own. It's kind of a neat spiral review, a lot of language and engagement and math talk going on in the class. And so those three things together kind of put up our math program with the background of those 8 mathematical practices. Can kids use tools wisely, use precision, like really think about numbers and their number sense? And so those are those 8 practices in math. In science, we're excited to use FOSS-KITS for NGSS, Next Generation Science Standards. We're going to touch on the big 3 units this year. We're going to start the first trimester with environments. Second trimester will be solids, rocks, and landforms. And on the third trimester is energy. And within all 3 of these units, there's different investigations we do. And so your kids will come home and be telling you about mealworms and terrariums and aquariums. And it's a lot of very hands-on, inquiry-based assignments that the kids work on and a lot of classwork. So you might not see a lot of science stuff come home. So ask them about what they're doing. They're also assessed at the end of each investigation within the unit and at the end of the unit. So it's usually a pretty exciting time in our afternoons to be doing science. We're going to interweave science with social studies. So this week it was geography, and we're going to do about a week of social studies, about 3 weeks of science is kind of a pattern that we're going to try to develop at the beginning of the year. So you can see the topics are geography, Native Californian, Spanish period, Mexican period, getting into the gold rush, which will kind of also touch upon the statehood. There's a lot of project-based learning. Right now, kids are working on hyperdocs, where they can kind of do stuff on their own and investigate, read, explore, and then come up with a presentation at the end. So those are pretty fun. Like I said earlier, the Gold Rush will be really dive in deeply into our reading and writing unit after winter break.
So you should know that in 4th grade, we really rely on and benefit from technology use. Our kids have Chromebooks, so we're a one-to-one Chromebook kind of classroom. So each student has a Chromebook with them the whole day long. So with that, we get to dive into Google Apps for education. Kids will be storing their documents in Google Drive. We use Google Classroom a lot to assign work and to collect assignments. And we'll also go into other apps. So come to Back to School Night to learn more about Google Classroom and how that looks and how you can get into your kids' Google Drive so that you can stay up to date with all of that as well. Conferencing might look a little different this year with our system of departmentalization. So student and family conferences will be held in November and March. We will send home report cards before the conferences, so you get a chance to preview the report card and come prepared with questions and celebrations. And we invite your students to attend. We think it's important that they're there because it's about them, after all. So expect that your students will lead you through classwork examples in different curricular areas, and then you'll have a time to meet with both of us and we can talk. All right, and extracurricular things that will be happening in fourth grade. We have PE, physical education, Tuesdays and Thursdays. So make sure that kids are coming to school prepared to run and play on those days with tennis shoes. Music with Mrs. Galvin is starting this year. So Mrs. Peters, room 17, goes to music on Wednesday.
I'm noticing that.
On Wednesday. Ignore Thursday. And Mrs. Dracamo, room 12, goes to music on Fridays. And we also have the benefit of having Mrs. Packard with us to teach art. So we get 12 lessons provided by the PTA, which is fantastic. And we've started those already. All right, and then at Back to School Night, we'll have opportunities for you to sign up for volunteering if you're interested. We need room parents to help us with all the fun stuff. And we need library volunteers for each classroom, as well as running off papers, just if you get a chance to help us prep some of those things in the copy machine room. And we would love to have someone to help us with fourth grade garden this year. That would be fantastic. So if you're interested in those things, see us at Back to School Night, and or you can shoot us an email. Okay. So we really encourage you to come next week on the 29th. We will be mingling at 5:45. Presentations will start at 6:30. We'll present together, but we're hoping that sending this out early gives you an opportunity to, again, come prepared with questions, and we'll get to dive deeper into showing you guys some of the nitty-gritty of what we do every day now that this kind of surface level stuff is taken care of.
Thanks. We'll see you next Wednesday. Bye.
Stop it.
I don't know what's done.
It's still going.
Stop.
I think we did good. I think we should send it.
I think we did too, but why is it not going? Oh, we can edit it.
I don't know. Why is it not? Do you do that? That little guy? No. Maybe press escape so we're out of that full screen. We're still there.
But we're done. Why are we still there?
No, we're still there.
Okay, stop.
Okay.
Because if this,
I think we should send it with this.
Do you guys really want to see this in the end?
So they can see how
get it to
cool we
stop.
are. We're so cool. I'm so that
Stop leaving me. Oh, it's going finally.